I'm in grade 6.
I'm in 7th grade.
I'm in 8th grade.
9th grade.
I'm a sophomore.
11th grade.
12th grade.
I graduated in June.
Okay. Pick a label that best describes you, and then we'll talk about it. Just one.
Caring.
I picked the label hardworking.
I picked friendly.
Yeah, I was nervous because I don't know what word to pick.
It was, I don't know, a lot because I wanted to choose multiple words, but I only could choose one, so.
I chose outgoing because that's just how people tell me that I am. People say I bring a smile to the room.
I kind of see myself as artistic, but I kind of just thought it was normal to be like that.
I picked the label confused because that's what I am right now. Expectations to me that aren't always met, and it's just like a lot of pressure all the time.
I picked quiet. I was actually born with a stutter. You know, when you see like quiet, they start to assume things, and you know.
On college forms or like applications, they always like check which box like applies to you the most.
You can label someone something and they could be that, but they are also other things. They're not just what you label them as. I feel like in society today, especially with teenagers, we try to put them in boxes. Okay, well, this kid does good in school, so they're just going to be smart, and that's it. And if they just get a bad grade, then automatically they're not in that box anymore. They're moved to a completely different box. Or this kid is athletic, so they can't be smart. It's like, why can't I just be both?
How did that feel, having to just pick one word?
I felt hard, like I was pressured.
Are labels a good idea?
I don't think so. Well, not really.
I don't really like labels. I don't want people thinking of me as like a certain label because I'm more than one thing, and I think about that for everyone else.
I felt like it was limiting because there's a lot of words you can describe yourself as, good and bad, and it's just hard choosing only one word.
I'm gonna have you go back to the table again, and this time you can pick 3 or 4 more words, and we're gonna add them, and then we're gonna talk about them.
Ooh, okay.
How does this feel?
It explains a lot more.
I like this one a lot better.
When you asked me to pick more words, I was like, all right, yes, there we go.
It feels like I have more of myself on the board. Not everything, but it has more of my traits and more of the qualities that I have, and it represents me a little bit more.
I think people can be like two things that kind of like counteract with each other, like shy and outgoing. Like those two things like aren't usually things that go together, but I think people can definitely be that.
I think about it a lot. This also goes back to being a senior and like all my teacher rec forms. It's like, describe yourself in 5 words. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, okay. Putting labels on people isn't necessarily fair because it doesn't get like the complexity of their character.
Grown-ups sometimes don't even know their identity, you know? It changes the more you grow up.
I'm like a little bit of everything. So everyone's like, oh no, she's that. They're like, no, I thought she was this. I'm everything.
I know just recently I'm trying to figure out still more of who I am.
It just shows that everything in front of you that you know as me is quiet. But then once you open the curtain, then you see all this stuff about me. That's to fool me. So it's like, wow, okay, it's not like you. It's like, no, it's been me for a while. Now I'm just showing you who I am.
Happy Saturday, everyone. Welcome to episode 115 of the Real Academy. I am Dr. Sheikah Houston.
Good morning, and I am Dr. Tammy Taylor. We hope you enjoyed that clip this morning. We know that we are all deeper than any label can be applied to us. There are layers to each and every one of us. So we want to just say thank you for joining and being a part of our work this morning. As you are joining in, we want to say happy Saturday. And we hope everybody is having a good, it's cold where I am morning. And just know that we are so glad to have you with us. Our company, Create and Educate LLC, is here to serve all of your professional development needs. If you are looking for solutions to the issues that you are facing, please look to us, because several years ago, that's what we were doing. We were looking for solutions for the woes that we were facing in our schools. And honestly, we found ourselves in state sanctioned school improvement with really no place to turn but to each other. So, what we had to do at that time was draw our strength from folks who were a long way away from us. And so, those folks came through for us, like Principal Sean Hurt, who was on this morning and on fire as usual. Principal Hurt, I hope you know how much you amaze us every Saturday and how much we appreciate the time you take to teach us about those things that will help us to make our schools better. We have Principal Kafele, who's going to be coming on right after us. And he, of course, will be on fire as well. But we had gentlemen like that, and Dr. Chika Akua, Principal James Presley, those folks were pouring into us. Then we had that support of very capable teams at our schools, and that with lots of hard work. We cannot deceive you. It's hard work when you are in school improvement, but with those teams and with those folks that were supporting us, we were able to move our schools through that improvement process and come out on the other side of it. So we at that time again didn't have what we needed, so we decided that we had to be what we needed for other people, and that's why we're here. We're presenting all the information that we bring to you comes from our framework, and that framework is real. You can see that acronym as we have outlined. It stands for respect, excellence, accountability, literacy, and for leadership. And those principles and systems that we were able to put in place and that were birthed through that framework are the things that led us out of state sanctioned school improvement. Sheikah School came off of the Palmetto Priority School list, and my school came off of the CSI list, which meant that we were among the lowest 5% of schools in our state. And that framework moved Sheikah's school up 2 report card levels and mine up 3. So we know that what we're doing is tried and true, and this work does matter. I guess if you wanted to know in a nutshell who we are today, we are practitioners with a passion for helping school leaders, and which in turn helps our children.
Most definitely. Thank you all so much for joining us for this 115th episode. I want to say good morning to everyone. Stacy Joy, Principal Davis out in Las Vegas, Principal Sean Hurt, who broke it down for us this morning, just like Tammy said, September Daniels, Principal Dot McKeever Jeter, glad you're joining us and doing well, Melissa Jones Chunu, Rail Purposeful, Principal Kafele, who we call the GOAT here in education, and he'll be soloed after us. He's out in Texas at the ASCD conference. I know he's setting everybody on fire. Miss Donna Scherer Gant is with us. I think she's enjoying her break. Brown Sharon Shannon is joining us. And thank you all for joining us. And Kenyelle Williams, good morning once again to everyone. Tammy has told you all who we are and why we do what we do. The professional development that we offer, we are also best-selling authors and speakers. So we offer professional development as well as leadership coaching. Shout out to all of the assistant principals that we had the opportunity to present real MTSS to last week. They were a phenomenal group of leaders, and we hope that everything that we provided you all was something that you all can take back to your school. So some of our topics includes MTSS, cultivating culturally relevant classrooms, classroom management, MTSS mindset, real reading strategies from 17% to 97% proficient in 1 year. Up 3 report card grade levels in 1 year. It can be done. Teaching a new generation, how do we reach them? The adultification of Black girls, strategies to help them thrive, and really any other customized topic that falls under leadership. That is our area of expertise. So, bringing us to our topic for today, we are finishing up from last week, overcoming imposter syndrome in school improvement. And this is still a part of our series. So, you received the F rating. Now what? We hope that you enjoyed that intro video. It still fits into that label category that we were talking about last week. And I wanted to put this up as we get started. I had mentioned it last week, this graphic where it says your ear is your womb. Whatever you listen to, either good or bad, is conceived and will be given birth to in due time and season. So choose what you listen to. And so when we're thinking about labels, we talked last week about how sometimes you may hear things from outside voices, but sometimes that internal voice also speaks to us as well. So the labels that are placed upon us, just like the children spoke in the video, and I love to hear the wisdom of children. Sometimes they are even more wise than us as adults, like the Bible says, through the mouth of babes. But they really hit home when they talked about, sometimes we put a label on students. We do that a lot in education with our labels, but you are more than your label. And so with report cards coming out, there has been just talk all over our state because the state report cards are out. And, we want to finish up from last week. Then we're going to get into how to read those report card ratings, because if you don't know how to read it, you don't even know where to start. So in finishing up our topic from last week about imposter syndrome, we're going to let you know overcoming the imposter syndrome the real way. Sometimes you can feel like an imposter because you've gotten some of those labels that may not necessarily describe everything that you are, like the young man talked about in the video. So, our real acronym, overcoming imposter syndrome, we're starting off with respect. Did you want to start with that one, Tammy?
Sure. And if you truly think about respect, the most important part of respect in the situation where you find yourself trying to deal with feeling like you're not enough and overcoming those self-limiting beliefs is to respect yourself, respect who you are, respect what you know, and respect that you're in this place and can do the work that you've been called to do. If you don't feel like you can do it, you can rest assured that no one else is going to have any confidence in you. So you have to be the respecter for your organization. You have to teach that to your staff. You have to teach that to your students. You have to teach that to your parents, and make sure that you help them understand how important it is to have respect for one another, to also have respect for the work that you're doing. Because if you don't have that respect, then what happens is you don't even believe in what you're doing. And when you don't believe in what you're doing, I could promise you the kids understand and know that you do not believe that they can do the things that you're telling them they can do. So start with just taking a look in that mirror that Principal Kafele talks to us about all the time. And if you need to give yourself a pep talk, do that. But look at yourself and know, look, I am the leader of this building. And if no one else respects who I am and what I'm doing, I do.
Most definitely. And the report card ratings are out. Ours range from excellent to good, average, below average, unsatisfactory. So, when we're talking about our real acronym, and Tammy just talked about that respect, the next part of that acronym is excellence. So, of course, if you're excellent, if you're good, if you're average, you're going to celebrate and you're going to want to, shout that from the rooftops. And that's what you need to do, celebrate it. But if you fell into the below average or the unsatisfactory, you're not going to feel like celebrating it. And it's not something to be celebrated. And as we talked about on another one of our episodes, you have to own it. This is what we have, but this is not who we are, because you have to make sure that you're leading everyone with your messaging out of that status. And so you definitely take ownership of it, but let everyone know that this is not what represents us as a school or representative of what we can do. So our excellence celebrates it. And if you have to make sure that you're building people in that excellence, then you let them know who they are. And we've got to be able to show people who we are in that excellence.
And listen, find something to celebrate. Look,
Mhm.
you might be unsatisfactory, but find something in that to celebrate so that you keep your folks motivated. Because when you have a staff who's given all they can give
Right.
and things are still coming up short, because that can happen.
Mhm.
I was in that predicament at a point, and so I know you're giving it your all. You know where the holes are, but I mean, at this point, patching won't do. You have to
Exactly.
get in there and repair what is wrong. And if you don't get in there and fix it, it's not going to get better. So what you have to do is just own where you are, as Sheikah said, and find something to celebrate. We were an unsatisfactory school. I gave the staff a party, not because we were an unsatisfactory school, but I gave them a party because of exactly what she said before. This is what the report card says, but this is what I see. We took data that was more current than the data that had came out the month before. And when we looked at our more current data, we saw a trend upward. And so guess what? I celebrated it with a party. Everybody was excited to know, oh, we're on an upturn. Now, was it much to celebrate? I really probably was going out on a limb, but I was trying to make sure that people understood, listen, we can do this. We have the capacity to do the work, which leads us to accountability. That's where we own, as Sheikah said before, what we have. We are accountable for these scores. There's no getting around it. You cannot blame the children, and it's no point in blaming the parents, because we are the owners of this data. So when you are at that point, be an accountability partner, be the partner for your staff, and hold them accountable, hold yourself accountable. And this is the other thing that I love about the work that we do. Sheikah and I coined each other as trustmates way back then, because sometimes I needed her to set me straight too. And sometimes vice versa. We needed to be there to say, look, you got to keep pushing. I know this feels like the time to faint, but we can't. You've got to stay the course. We got to just get in there and dig in. And so just make sure that accountability becomes a part of the culture.
Most definitely. And Tammy was definitely that person who was pushing me along as well, my accountability partner, cheering me along. We cheered one another along, because you also need a cheerleader in that process. The next part of our acronym, the L, stands for literacy. You're going to want to make sure that if you're trying to overcome imposter syndrome, if you are in a status at your school that you're trying to improve in, you've got to put some positive things in. That symbol that I put up about the the ear and what you're listening to. This is so true. You've got to read positive affirmations, positive quotes, listen to positive messaging. I made sure that a positive message was heard every Monday in my town hall meetings from me. It was important, like Principal Kafele teaches us, that from the principal's mouth, there are certain things that need to be heard. I wanted them to hear from me. You know, you all may not feel like this is what we can do, but I'm telling you, we can do this. And I had to make sure everybody heard that messaging, the teachers, the students. I wanted them to understand and see the vision that I saw them as I saw them, what I knew what we could do. And all of that had to be done through positive affirmations and building everybody up, including myself.
Yes, and that's the last part of our acronym, leadership. The reason we have to build ourselves is because we are the leader. The chair that we sit in is where the buck stops. And it doesn't matter what the reason was for us getting to where we were there. So, what we encourage you to do from our perspective when you're talking about leadership and school improvement is first be the leader of your life. You are the leader of this school, and you have to prove to the folks that you're leading that you have the capacity to do the work that needs to be done. Because if you don't provide leadership, what you will find is your staff trying to find leadership in other places. They'll start looking to each other for leadership, or they'll look outside of you. You don't need that, because what you want to do is set the course for what's happening in your school. Believe in what you do, believe in you to do it, and just make sure that when you are giving yourself that affirmation, I am the leader of my own life.
Most definitely. We only have about 3 minutes left. So, what we wanted to do, there was so much chatter amongst everyone in the state about our school report cards. In South Carolina, they have been released. So, we are celebrating Tammy and her school. Dr. Taylor and Great Falls Elementary are good, and they have done phenomenal work. We are so proud of them, but we want people to understand how to read the report card, because what we saw was that a lot of people don't understand how to read the report card. So the first part of the report card tells you your overall rating. This
And
rating,
honestly, we found that some people don't even understand that. And I just
right?
want to press pause. Glory be to God for a good rating, but we also want to shout out the incredible staff and students that make that work happen at
Most
Great
definitely.
Falls Elementary School every day. And I want to shout out our parents, because
Mhm.
they are figuring out how to support us with that work. So this is definitely the result of our staff and students at that school.
But what we will do is we'll continue this next week. If you look over here at the ratings, it actually spells out what each rating means. And so when people were talking about a lot of the schools that were average, the average says school performance meets the criteria to ensure all students meet the profile of a South Carolina graduate. And that is our goal. And everything that we are graded on is that we're making sure students meet the profile of a South Carolina graduate. So average means that the school performance meets the criteria. So I just want to emphasize that for a lot of the people who were not understanding what that means. We're going to go into it in much more detail next week, but please join us on Principal Kafele's page. We're in for a treat. He's solo today. Also join Josh and Dean on Sunday on Unlock the Middle. Dr. Ross Gaskins and Coach Williams throughout the week, Dr. Cheryl Thomas, and back on Saturdays with Principal Sean Hurt at 10 a.m. and us the Leadership DoctHers, HERS, the Real Academy, by Create and Educate at 10:30. And this last thing I want to announce, we have been sponsored to be on the FAM Network channel on Roku. So that will be coming soon. We want to celebrate that, and we are very excited about that. But you all have a great rest of your Saturday. Remember, at Create and Educate, we create spaces that thrive. So please continue to thrive on this Saturday.
Thank you, guys. Good Saturday.